Hello YouTubers, I just wanted to show this angle quick that I got on here. It's really tight to get this upper transmission mount off, so I actually just hit the inside of the mount. It was so bad I just gave it 2 taps with the end of the breaker bar and it just popped right out. So if yours is as shot as mine, and I don't know if it's red paint or if that's red Loctite, but if that's red Loctite, that explains why I'm having so much trouble with these. But I started to break it loose, and that's the bite that I got. It's a 14mm low profile 1/2 inch, and it just fits inside of it. You might have to play with the socket to get a bite that's vertical enough, but I was able to break that one loose. The middle one was the hardest because it hits the transmission. And then the back ones, I used this. It's just a 14mm 3/8 with a 1/2 inch to 3/8. I believe it's a 2 inch. It also works for this one. Yep. I would definitely remove the battery tray because it's definitely in the way if they're this tight. Hello YouTubers, I'm back with another video. 07 Honda Accord 2.4 liter, and I just wanted to do a comparison of the lower transmission mounts. So this is the new part. It looks like they kind of sprayed over the rubber, which I'm assuming will flake over time. This one has no markings, but it's identical to the original. So this one doesn't look too bad, but I think when you can see a little, I think it was on the other side, yeah. But basically I just decided to do these. You can see it rips kind of at the top there, but overall it's still in pretty decent shape. But while you have the upper, if your upper looks like mine, you gotta replace that anyway. So while you have it off, it's easy to jack out the transmission while you have the upper mount off, because it gives you enough play to get the bottom ones out if you just pick it up a little bit. So I decided to just swap them at the same time, then I know everything's good. So that was the part number for that's the rear mount, and then this one is going to be the front. And then I got new hardware just because I didn't know what mine was going to look like. And the only difference is, so this one has the same size bolts as this one. So it's going to be 3 of these, and then you got one longer one, which goes in, so it faces this way. So the longer one actually goes here. You can see my old ones. They're not too bad, but this car hasn't seen a lot of rust. But if you live in the Rust Belt, I recommend getting bolts just in case. And then the front mount, let's see what we got here. Part number is and this one actually does have a marking. It's 4A, which is the same exact as the other one. And this one was in better shape. The rear one had splitting, but this one really didn't have hardly anywhere. But again, since I was replacing it and it's almost 20 years old, I figured, why not? Let's see where I saw one crack in it. Right here. So that's where it splits. You can't see it if it's resting, but when it flexes opposite, you can see it. So it might be hard to tell if it's cracking on it, because in the car I couldn't see any cracks on it, but I saw the crack on the other one before I took the weight off of it. It looks like they had some red Loctite on these too, but they weren't too bad to get off. I used a Milwaukee and just an assortment of 3/8 1/2 inch, and they're all 14, so probably just need a shallow and a deep socket and you get them all out. They weren't too tight. The upper was way harder than the lowers. I guess I'll show it going back in. Alright. So I didn't show putting them in and out, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You just pull them out, like, towards you. I just wanted to show, that's about all I had to lift it to get it out. So I'm going to slowly lower it until I can line these up and start them. But yeah, you basically just lift up and then tilt it towards like this, and you'll get it out. And then pretty much just pull it out directly out the wheel well, and it's home free home. So then the trickiest part's just lining up the holes in the bottom. This one's pretty easy. This one's a little bit tricky because it's tight. But yep, that's pretty much it. Alright, YouTubers, I'm back with the upper transmission mount, motor mount, whatever you want to call it. And here's the part number for the new one. And here's what it looks like. So the only markings on here is on the back. It says Honda. There we go. PA66GF50, and then there's just this little marking down here, and that's pretty much it. I just wrote these on here so I know which bolts went where, but it's not that complicated. So yeah, you should have 4. It makes like an X with the rubber, and yeah, it's like really stiff, like you could barely move it. So if yours has any kind of play, I would say it's shot. Obviously, if it looks like this one, but yeah. I mean, mine wasn't this bad. I knocked it out. There was one, this corner was missing, so it had 3. But, like, you could literally swap it around with your thumb, like, really easily. Because it's just so brittle. And then this is the original. Also has the Honda markings. Can't read the rest, but I can make it out now that I saw the new one. It's the same. Alright, so... So you got your 3 bolts on the sides, which is 2 of these are the same. And then you got the one in the middle, which is different, it's shorter. So you got the 2 long ones go here and here, and then the short one goes here. And then the center one is going to be this one. It's a long one. And then you also got these 2 are for the upper bracket, which holds the engine mount, or it goes to the top. So you got, you got the 27 goes with these 2. And honestly, these 2, other than the head being rusted, were in really good shape, so you probably don't need them. But that's that. So the torque specs, all 3 of these are 33 foot-pounds, and then these are all 40 foot-pounds. And then also, the only 2 bolts that I didn't get new were the engine mount brackets, or engine bracket mounting bolts. Grab one of these lights here. It's getting kind of dark in here. Alright, so it'll be these 2 bad boys, which was up here. So it's gonna be these ones, the fat ones. They're 17mm head, and luckily mine were in pretty good shape. But that's the only other 2 bolts on top, which are also torqued to 40 foot-pounds. All my hardware is in pretty good shape. Yeah, these are the battery tray bolts. I didn't get those either. But that's pretty much it for the show and tell. Alright, I'm back, and after fighting for a while to get the torque wrench in there. I tried for a bit with this. I didn't even realize I had one, but it's a 1/4" 14. Icon makes, which I had to expand up to 3/8, which you can get in here, but you lose all kinds of leverage. But to try and miss the transmission line, I found another way. So if you put the torque wrench right where I got it, you can get it on. But it goes all the way, pretty much touching the radiator. So I'm going to pick it up. You got about 2 or 3 clicks to work with. So once you spin the socket, you can get it on there. You get the final torque with that. You can tighten it any which way. It was pretty easy to tighten it with this, but then to torque it, 33 foot-pounds, and the other two are a little bit easier. I believe it's a 2.5 inch with a 14 impact. It was like the perfect length. So it gets you like just there, but then this one is tighter. So you got it worked out for me. But if you put this in there, you want to get like right past this triangle for the head of the ratchet. So if you have the torque wrench, let's see if I get this out. If you got the head of the torque wrench, you want it vertical so it takes up less room like that, and it'll fit. And then again, you get a very narrow arc before the head hits the transmission, but it's just enough with the 3/8 to clear the transmission. You could torque it. So I got all of them at 33 foot-pounds, pretty clean. And the lower transmission mounts also is 33 on everything. The bolts going in and the nuts are all 33. And then all these bracket bolts that go in here are going to be 40. And that's pretty much it, but I wanted to show this because it's tight, and I know it was a pain trying to get it out. So. Alright, YouTubers, I'm back. So what I did is I started this one, and then the 17 here and the 17 here, get them started by hand, and then I started these two last. So what I did is snug them all up, and then you want to torque these two first, 40 foot-pounds. I did sequence. I did these 20, and then I did these to 20, and then I went ahead and did these to 40. And the manual says to do all 4 of these, and this one should be last. So this one will be the end, and they're all 40. And I used this 3/8 with 14.